I am the Namer, guardian of the names of power. Before your world even existed, my people were an ancient race. Now they are gone, and only I remain, keeper of my people's history. Across the endless tracts of space have I traveled, to return to the planet of my birth, Zoidstar. Though my people perished long ago, and their cities were buried by the shifting sands, the machines remain. It is these that have brought me here to perform the last act of the Zoidarian race, the giving of the names of power. When my race was young and had an interest in the affairs of the galaxy, they built the machines, mighty engines of destruction which gave the power of life and death over the other creatures in the galaxy. The Zoidarians turned their gaze outward and laid waste to 1,000 star systems with their machines, their Zoids. But ruling a galaxy was not enough for the Zoidarians. It was not the conquests, but the battles they enjoyed. And though all intelligent life trembled in the shadow of the Zoids, my people battled on, machine against machine, Zoidarian against Zoidarian, in the further pursuit of glory. Zoidarian lives were needlessly sacrificed to the god of battle, and the race dwindled in numbers until the elders outlawed the Zoid duels. But they couldn't outlaw the Zoidarian love of combat. The Zoidarian pilots of the giant war machines were replaced by androids, and thus the heroic combat could continue without threat to Zoidarian life. Too late came the order. Too late to save a once mighty race from extinction, and now only I remain. Only I and the Zoids. And though my people created the Zoids, I have no power to control them. For the war machines have become the living embodiment of the Zoidarian thirst for combat, with lives and wills of their own. They exist only to fight, to ensure that their heroic combat lasts for all eternity. Now I stand on the sand-blasted surface of a world I used to call home, high on a rock, scanning the horizon for some sign of movement, knowing that out there, behind the sand clouds, lurk the deadliest war machines in the universe. It begins!
Slithering steel, Snake, developed for war. On planet Z, he tracks the desert floor. Arid land, guardian, machine and steel. Snake's the Republic, Snake Zoid is ideal. New Earth technology enables them. Greater Zoids at the cutting edge science STEM. For the second Xenobus war they arise. Metallic snakes with orange laser eyes. Slice, green and beige cybernetic machines. Slice, steel weapons of war, fight by desert means. Slice, laser guns and rockets scatter the sand. Slice, self-propelled and Republic grand. On planet C again. Once more evil empire invades Zen, but the Republic will defend the line. Snake's the light combat Zoid serpent design. Blowing skills, Snakes controls arid land. Metallic terror bursts through desert land. Still being lethal, Snake strikes without warning. So no Empire Zoids survive till morning. Slice, green and beige cybernetic machines. Slice, steel weapons of war, fight by desert means. Slice, laser guns and rockets scatter the sand. Slice, self-propelled and Republic grand. Battle rages on planet Z again. Once more evil empire invades Zen, but the Republic will defend the line. Snake's with a light combat Zoid serpent design. With burrowing skill, Snakes controls arid land. Metallic terror bursts through desert land. Stealthy and lethal, Snake strikes without warning. So no Empire Zoids survive till morning. Snakes, green and beast, cybernetic machines. Snakes steal weapons of war, fight by desert means. Snakes, laser guns and rockets scatter the sand. Snakes, built for power their republic ran. Snakes, green and beast, cybernetic machines. Snakes steal weapons of war, fight by desert means. Snakes, laser guns and rockets scatter the sand. Snakes, built for power their republic ran. To a close on Zoidstar. Destroyed Zoids litter the land near and far. Red and blue, those that survive now rebuild. A war looms once more as new Zoids take the field. Falling from icy blue moon, their eggs land. Encased in steel, these new Zoids await command. Then comes Croc, the prince of darkness from the sky, to seize, hatch, and claim the new Zoids from on high. Snake, red and silver, robotic Zoid Snake. Snake, cruel, slithering war machine awake. Snake, commando for Croc, make no mistake. To seize, hatch, and claim the new Zoids from on high. Snake, red and silver, robotic Zoid Snake. Snake, cruel, slithering war machine awake. Snake, commando to Croc, make no mistake. Snake, carries on warfare plans for his sake. Along with Scarab and Hellcat he bows. Snake carries out Croc's will as he allows. With rockets loaded and lasers primed too, the metallic Snake Zoid will blast on through. First mission is to deceive the blue Zoids, led by Zoidzilla of the Guardian Droids. Snake will join the attack along with Hellcat to fight the blue Zoids in ambush combat. Snake, red and silver, robotic Zoid Snake. Snake, cruel, slithering war machine awake. Snake, commando to Croc, make no mistake. To seize, hatch, and claim the new Zoids from on high. Saber marches through the gorge with his force. Cannons in tow, the commandos meet their course. Though Snake falls to Saber is not phased. All goes to plan as suspicions are raised. Snake, red and silver, robotic Zoid Snake. Snake, cruel, slithering war machine awake. Snake, commando to Croc, make no mistake. To seize, hatch, and claim the new Zoids from on high. Snake, red and silver, robotic Zoid Snake. Snake, cruel, slithering war machine awake.
It is the never-ending battle between red and blue Zoids. It has been waged for centuries. It rages still, with no end in sight.
I, the Namer, last of the Zoidarians, guardian of the names of power, keeper of the legend of heroic combat, have spoken.